DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Now, before we begin, I want to say that I'm getting this out to you a month after the show's season has ended because I wanted to take some time to rewatch some of the old episodes and see if there's anything I missed so I can get my thoughts out of the way. So with that being said, here we go. So DC's Legends of Tomorrow, or just rather Legends of Tomorrow, is basically an extension of everything in the Arrowverse, meaning the shows The Flash and the Arrow on the CW. And it basically stars all the secondary characters between both shows and some new characters. You're introduced to this guy named Rip Hunter, played by Arthur Darvill, and he's a time master, or rather former time master, who decides he wants to go throughout time and fight this bad guy called Vandal Savage, who's responsible for some really bad shit. And so he decides to travel to 2016, which is oddly enough when the show first aired earlier this year, and he recruits all the would-be legends of tomorrow, meaning all the side characters. Out of all the side characters, or, well, out of the main characters rather, I would definitely say Sarah Lance and Captain Cold, those two are my favorite. They have such an interesting dynamic and a certain cool factor to them that I just really like. Although, to be fair, Superman, I mean, Ray Palmer, he's got some coolness too, and I think that's attributed to his quirkiness, geekiness, and general, like, good guy attitude. Also, I want to say that Firestorm has a cool power too. I mean, I just like the fact that they can merge together and be this flaming nuclear warhead that can fly. So the basic story is, once he recruits them, they travel back throughout time, and forward in time, and all throughout time itself to try and fight Vandal Savage, who's basically trying to take over the world. Now, you all might remember seeing Vandal Savage in the two-part crossover from this past season between Flash and Arrow, and that basically set up Legends of Tomorrow, and, well, he's bad news. First of all, I would definitely want to say that the special effects on this show are phenomenal. I mean, they're on par with some good movies. I mean, the special effects on The Flash and Arrow weren't bad. I mean, they're actually good. But these are just great, especially given everything. Every now and then, it can look a little bad, a little jilted, but for the most part, it looks very solid. Captain Cold's cold gun shoots out cold shit. Heatwave's flamethrowers actually flames. Time travel lightning looks like time travel. So on and so forth, and it looks pretty damn good. And the action scenes are pretty awesome too. I mean, once again, both shows previously had good action scenes, but this one just wraps it up a notch, and there's everything pretty cool. It's like you're actually in the action itself, and it feels really real. I mean, hits land, you see fire get thrown around, Captain Cold's gun actually shoots like it freezes people, so on and so forth. And there's a lot of tension in between every action scene. The story, I have a lot to say about the story, or rather, something of a lot to say about the story. So the basic story is they're going back in time and forward in time, and though the story is pretty solid because you need to take 16 episodes to like try and figure out how to stop Vandal Savage and prevent everything from happening, or as it were, there are a few things I want to talk about. Well, as you know, this has time travel in it, so time travel rules are going to vary between shows. So what's a rule in another show or universe like, say, Star Trek or Terminator or Back to the Future isn't necessarily a rule here. Like, for instance, in one episode, they make it known that you can do this certain thing in the past, and then at another episode, they kind of negate that and say, well, actually, you can do that. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, so you can do this, but you can't do that. But you just said earlier that you shouldn't do that because this will happen. And it can get really confusing. I mean, there are certain things that should or shouldn't happen, but they're never mentioned, or it just doesn't happen on screen, as far as I know. So it can be a little confusing at times. There's also some points where characters do some really not wise things. Like, I'm not getting into any spoilers or big spoilers, but for the most part, towards the end of the season, there's a point where there's a big decision that should be made, and the characters just drop the ball, like, kind of badly. I mean, granted, I understand why the ball got dropped, but still, it makes you scratch your head and go, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, why didn't you just do that when you had the chance? That's not to say it's all the time. I mean, it's not exactly a constant, because there's some justifiable reasons, but still, when it happens, it's a real head scratcher. However, at the end of the season, at the very last episode of the season, everything wraps up pretty nicely, and they finally get to the conclusion that they need, and there's a very nice sequel hook in the last couple of minutes. I say sequel hook because there's definitely a nice Easter egg right there, and it's something that DC comic fans will love or possibly geek out over. I know I did, and it'll definitely lead in the next season, which is good because this show, along with everything else on the CW, got renewed for another season. Which actually had me a little worried because I wondered exactly how much longer can this show go on. I mean, it was a hit, and it's a good hit, but how much longer can they do this? I was also a little bit worried about having all these different cast members on the show. I mean, There's, between the Legends, Rip Hunter, and Vandal Savage, there's no less than 10 different characters on screen at once for most episodes. So I had to wonder, how are they going to like split time and try to develop them or get to know them? But I will say for season 1 they did a pretty good job, and I would just chalk some of this other stuff up as growing pains because, well, the show has to get its feet wet. And you'll learn there's some interesting plot twists and changes to the plot halfway through episodes in the series. So there's some things that like, oh shit, I didn't expect that, or oh, damn, I didn't think that was going to happen. And it's pretty, not really predictable, but, well, it's not predictable at all, but it's pretty fascinating and it'll keep you in touch. And yes, there are definitely references to Flash and Arrow in between, so naturally you're going to have that. So overall, for season 1, I will definitely say it's a pretty solid show. It's fun. I liked it. There are definitely some things that need to be worked on and some rules I need to establish, but for the most part, I had fun with it. A lot of people have had fun with it. Supposedly, this is the 3rd highest rated show on the CW, and I liked it for the most part, but I had to take away some points. So that's why I'll say season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow gets a silver ribbon rating. Okay, so DC's Legends of Tomorrow, season 1. Have you all seen it? Have you seen every episode? What do you all think? Who's your favorite character on the show? Whatever you think, leave me a comment below and tell me how you feel. Also, while you're at it, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to check out my Twitter at AsteroidMike. Click on the link below on the next page. And as always, I will see you in the next video. So until then, peace out.